Welcome back to the portfolio update videos. These are weekly portfolio update videos that I do covering my 2 stock portfolios and my investments, just to give a bit of an update and hold myself accountable on how my investments are going. As you can see, I currently hold 2 portfolios. So one is my stake portfolio that's sitting around 71,000 AUD. I do have money sitting in the cash, and I do have my invested money, and I'm up around 50% on this. There's been a bit of a recent dip recently, so that percentage has come down, but overall that's how that portfolio is sitting. In regards of my Vanguard account, I am sitting at around $55,600, and that's all in one position called VGS, which is the International Shares ETF, and that's trading at around $154 at the moment, which I have 360 shares of, which is by far my biggest position across the 2 portfolios. Overall, that takes the total portfolio value to around $126,000 and a bit more than that. So that's kind of how things are sitting at the moment. I haven't been depositing funds in, as I've been really building up my savings position. Overall, my goal is to end the year pretty consistent. I might put one last deposit in as I kind of wait. The reason why I did decide to not deposit and take money out of my portfolio was because I was looking for a property to purchase. That has been a bit tougher to find something good, especially as we wrap up towards the end of the year. Not as much stuff going for sale around here in December, so that's kind of one thing. And then property prices are very expensive, so that's another factor that's made an impact in my decision. Overall, if we do have a look at my Excel spreadsheet, you can see here are the 2 portfolios. Things have really been simplified over the years, so I used to have a lot of positions. My Vanguard had around 3 different holdings. It's now been simplified to 1, as I did sell VLC, which was my ETF that tracked the largest 20 companies here in Australia. And then my stake portfolio, so I had lots of other individual stocks, some including JP Morgan, Costco, Apple, McDonald's, Meta, Tesla, different companies like that I've invested in over the years. But I've really simplified it to 4 key positions, as I did take some gains in some of the others. That cash that you saw sitting in my stake portfolio was from my sale of Apple and Costco, my last final pieces. And you can see over time just how the portfolios have gone up. So only recently I did make that sale, so that's the reason why that's gone down. But my goal is to still be a long-term investor, kind of with a longer investment horizon, and hopefully I can just keep this compounding and growing over time. So that's kind of how the 2 stock portfolios are looking at the moment. In terms of dividends, I update this monthly, but I did just receive a Microsoft dividend for around 12 USD. All my dividends are reinvested back into the portfolio. As I've mentioned on here a few times, I'm not a dividend investor at all, so everything just goes right back into my investments, so I can hopefully have that snowball effect. This year, I was hoping to hit around $2,000 in dividends. I think I will be just under that. I'll be pretty close. Again, I update these at the end of every month, so then I'll put my December figures in and we can get a real final figure on how much it was. But yeah, so far it's been a pretty good year for me. Around 1,653 in AUD for my stake. I'm in my Vanguard, and then a little bit in my US portfolio as well. So that's kind of how things are looking. And regards with my other kind of holdings and investments, nothing has changed. I did say I was potentially going to be reinvesting, because I can't find a property at the moment. I was thinking of putting a bit of money in. One thing that is quite interesting to track is the AUD USD conversion rate. So it is currently sitting around 67 cents for $1. When I started investing a few years back, I was getting a lot more bang for my buck. And then as things kind of pulled down, this did mean the value of my portfolio in terms of the Australian dollars went up a lot. But yeah, you can see it's kind of really pulled back quite a fair bit. In the last year, it has slowly traded up a bit. You can see it's sitting around 67 cents at the moment. But Australia seems to be keeping its interest rates on hold. Well, America is looking like it's going to be cutting, which will be good for the Australian dollar. So if this does go up, it will mean that my portfolio value in terms of AUD will probably come down because it's all in USD, but I will also be investing my Vanguard portfolio as well. So this is all in AUD. But that's kind of just a bit more interesting stuff to keep in mind. That's something you have to look at when you are an investor and you're investing over different currencies. Just kind of understanding that different currency risk and things like that. but overall, it's not going to make a massive difference for my portfolio. What I'm planning to do is, as I get closer to the end of the year, I'll do one last portfolio wrap-up video, just kind of reflecting on my portfolio balance at the start to the end, what's been the key drivers, such as my key investments in the likes of Google, which has had a really good past 6 months, as you can see, up 76%, and my position's up around 87%, 88%. What's kind of held me back, some that haven't performed as well, such as Amazon, which you can see in the last year is actually down technically, but I am still up on Amazon around 15%, just buying at a good time. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on what I'll be doing. Microsoft has really pulled back recently, but yeah, I plan on doing that as just kind of an update video. I am going to do some planning as well around future videos. So I think once a month I'm going to start doing net worth update videos, which will be a bit more inclusive of things like my cash holdings, other investments like my retirement funds, things like that. So I'm planning on doing those once a month, and then I'm going to keep doing these videos, the portfolio update videos, once a week. And then I'm thinking of doing more personal finance content. I've recently done some videos on paying back student loans, my decision around potentially studying an MBA, and I think I'm going to do more stuff on me studying for the CFA, because I'm currently studying for level 2. I passed level 1 this year, so my goal is to hopefully pass level 2. I've registered for the exam in May, I believe. So I'm going to work hard to study for that, hopefully pass, so I can hopefully show my personal finance side and my career side. Hopefully it just gives a bit better context to a lot of my watchers, and I can hopefully grow my audience as well, because my channel has recently started picking up again, but it went through a real tough time with views and things. So trying to get back on track and just get the channel back to where I know it can be, and that's on me for holding myself accountable to upload videos. But yeah, that's just a quick update video on how the portfolios are looking. Since I'm not being investing at the moment, it is quite difficult for me to do videos on it in a sense, because nothing's changing. Again, I'm just have my key holdings, and that's why I'm kind of looking at doing these net worth videos as well, because whilst my portfolio might not be going up, my cash position's been building very quickly. So that's another side of things that would be good to show, that even though, because if I just poured some of that money into my portfolio, I could get this easily up to 150k as an example, which would look good for my YouTube videos and the growth. But yeah, it's kind of balancing and having that diversification, as I do kind of want to get into property. I do have some decisions to make whether I want to invest in property or not, because I do want to go for an MBA, as I mentioned. That would mean I probably have to sell the property when I go for that. Maybe that's 3 years down the line, but is that enough time to make my good enough money when I factor in things like stamp duty, selling costs, all that? But yeah, that's for me to decide and have a look. But yeah, this is how the portfolios are weighing up now. I plan to potentially, if I am going to invest some money before the end of the year, I'll invest it into this Vanguard account, into this VGS position, but more on that later. And feel free to subscribe and share how your portfolios are doing in the comments. Cheers.